All right, so USC recruiting got another hit on Monday afternoon, while another Pac-12 school took another hit. What are some of the ramifications for USC and for their competition with this latest commitment? Also, Pac-12 Media Day is this Friday, and feelings are still a little raw, understandably so, from some of these programs that are being left behind. So is it a coincidence that both LA schools will be the last to take the stage this Friday? And did USC tip their hand when they announced who'll be joining Lincoln Riley at LA Live when Pac-12 Media Day kicks off on Friday morning? That's what's coming up next on Locked On USC.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Marc Hulkin, and thanks for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. So whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to your podcast, wherever you get them, we're free, and we thank you for listening. We thank you for watching. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, tell your friends, and go ahead and leave some feedback. Let us know how you like the show. Let me go ahead and start this show off by first letting you know that starting August 1st, you're going to be able to get me 5 days a week as opposed to 3 days a week. So once August 1st rolls around, college football season is in full effect as far as we're concerned here at Locked On USC. So we'll bring you all the news and notes we can in 30 minutes or less, 5 days a week, starting August 1st. Set your calendar, get that coffee going, or whatever adult beverage you prefer to drink whenever you're taking in the show. All right. So at the top of the show, I mentioned that USC got another recruiting hit. Last week, Tackett Curtis, he picked the linebacker from Many, Louisiana. He picked USC over Ohio State and Wisconsin. And that was a signal that USC can compete with the Big Ten powers, as well as Wisconsin, for those elite recruits that they're going to be playing and competing with against once USC moves to the big conference starting in 2024. So, instead of USC players being violently introduced to Tackett in a couple of years, now the big conference can start dealing with having to concern themselves with Mr. Curtis bringing the violence on the defense when USC is playing them. It's one of the things that's been kind of well documented. Is USC's had some challenges recruiting guys who play on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. Offensive line specifically is where we're talking about today. I talked about USC had a big recruiting hit. Micah Banuelos, the offensive lineman from Kennedy Catholic, Monday afternoon committed to USC. Earlier over the weekend, USC, they didn't get one of their tight end prospects, Walker Lyons. He made his commitment known to Stanford. Hey, when Stanford makes you an offer, and if you pass their admittance requirements, 9 times out of 10, you're going to choose Stanford. And Stanford has been known to do really well at the tight end position, so it's understandable. And USC didn't really miss. You hate to say they didn't miss out. They'd love to have Walker Lyons from Folsom, California, but they've got Deuce Robinson, who they're feeling really confident about that they're going to receive his commitment, who can play tight end as well. But back to Monday's afternoon's pickup. Micah Banuelos, the interior offensive lineman from Kennedy Catholic, he picked USC over the Oregon Ducks. And that's significant. Obviously he fills a recruiting need, and he's also going to be able to help with recruiting other targets that play along the offensive line, as maybe even the defensive line. He's really close with Alani Noah, who Oregon also covets. But it's starting to get a feel like Alani is leaning towards USC. So, last on a previous episode, we talked about when Tackett Curtis made his commitment. Is this going to start opening the floodgates? Is this the first domino to fall? It appears that it might be, even with the Walker Lions, little hiccup. Again, USC, if you want to, I'm not even going to call him a backup plan because I think he's still their first target at tight end is Deuce Robinson. So, mock Knicks, so to speak, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. You lose out on Walker. You're still waiting on Deuce Robinson. Now, should Deuce choose to go elsewhere, then we can, we'll come back and we'll look at the tight end position again. But getting Micah to make his commitment is big because he's going to push hard for his buddy Alani Noah. Also, pardon me. Let's see here. What else did I want to say? Another big thing about getting this commitment, and while it's significant and it helps USC, but it also hurts the other programs on the West Coast who are looking for offensive linemen. The offensive line trees on the West Coast for the 2023 class, they're not providing a really big harvest. I mean, pickings are kind of slim. That's not to say that, some guys won't blossom late and will get some more offers as their season goes on, or maybe even their junior season goes on, starting soon. The high school football season actually starts in the next couple weeks, which is crazy to think about. Fall camp starts within the next week or so. The high school season actually starts in a couple weeks. Yeah, football is here. Feels good. Back on tangent. One of the reasons why Micah said he chose USC is it came down, he had set his commitment date back a couple of times. He said he wanted to make sure his mom was available to be there. Good reason. But he also said at his announcement that part of his decision came down to knowing where USC was going to be playing. Playing in the Big Ten is a big deal. Oregon is playing in the Pac-12, and the perception is the Pac-12 isn't the big conference or the SEC. And if you want to know, if you want to get some more context about that, after his announcement ceremony today, WeRSC.com's Scott Schrader caught up with Micah and did a live interview with him. So when you're done listening to me and watching me here on Locked On USC, head on over to WeRSC.com, check out that full interview, and it'll lend you some insight into why Micah chose USC, and it was a lot closer than maybe some people thought. The Oregon Ducks were his dream school, and maybe if Oregon was heading to the Big Ten or to the SEC or the Big 12 even, maybe Micah makes his commitment for the Ducks. As of now, he's a USC Trojan, and that helps USC, that hurts Oregon, and that's always a good thing. So, while you're watching that interview over there at WeRSC.com, you're probably going to want a snack. So head on over to Built Bar. These guys have got some crazy flavors, and this stuff is good for you, but the way they market it, I don't know, man. It sounds too good to be true. So if you haven't tried the Built Bar Puffs yet, you're really depriving yourself of one of life's greatest joys. And guess what? There's a new flavor. It's called the Delicious Indulgent Cookie Dough, and it's covered in chocolate. That's right. Built has done it again. Let me introduce you to the new favorite cookie dough chunk puffs. They have a light and chewy texture with real cookie dough chunks, and of course, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. all of the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it, plus it's healthy for you. Cookie dough chunk puffs are only 160 calories, and they have a whopping 15 grams of protein in them. Okay, not bad. So run to built.com to snag a box for you and the family. It'll be the perfect treat, or you can find a really good hiding place and just hoard them for yourself. When I'm done with the show, I'm heading over there and getting some of these, and I don't need to hide them. Nobody's going to take them from me. So, like all Built bars, the new cookie dough chunk puff is covered in 100% real chocolate. That means they're healthy and tasty. Chocolate-covered cookie dough with a light, fluffy texture. So good. What's great about Built is that all their bars are made with collagen protein. Your body tends to absorb the collagen more efficiently, and it provides a ton of health benefits. So you're going to love the new cookie dough chunk puff, whether you need a snack for your workout, a late night treat, or just to grab a quick bite. Built is the perfect protein bar, and they taste better than a candy bar. Ditch the calories, fat, and sugar. Grab yourself a Built bar. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo LOCKED15. Okay, so on this next segment here, look, Pac-12 Media Day is coming up this Friday. And I think everybody anticipated Caleb Williams being at Pac-12 Media Day. He's the new face of the program. But the question was, who was going to be joining him and Lincoln Riley? For those of you who aren't aware, Pac-12 Media Day, every program head coach, and they usually bring along 2 player representatives. So joining Caleb is going to be linebacker Shane Lee, who also transferred to the program in the spring, before the spring, actually. Since Shane arrived, he's truly become a leader off the field, and what he's done in the weight room. He's brought over a work ethic from Alabama, and look, Alabama must be doing something right with their program. They're in the playoffs or challenging for the playoffs every year. So when you're able to get a caliber player of a Shane Lee, when he brings a work ethic and he wants to show you how things are done at a championship level program, you better listen. And it's kind of rubbed off on the players in the weight room. And from all accounts, he's also been a great locker room guy as well. So you're going to have 3 newcomers to USC representing the program at Pac-12 Media Day this Friday. I don't know what kind of message that sends. What it does do is it sends a message that last year is behind this team. So these new guys are going to be leading USC this year and, however long they're around into the future. But, I started asking myself, what about guys like, who have been around the program, who have these last few years, who have really dealt with a lot of the ups and downs, and more downs than ups, if we're being honest here. Guys like, Nick Figueroa, Justin Dietich, Andrew Voorhees, Tuli Pelotu, Raylan Goforth. I can go on. But, these guys, they've been around and, they've answered the tough questions, especially last year. You wonder, why isn't one of them coming along with a Caleb Williams to lend a different perspective? Obviously Caleb and Shane are bringing a fresh new perspective. They weren't around last year. They can only talk about what they anticipate for this year's team. But questions about last year are going to come up. And I just think that it would be if I'm going to use Lincoln Riley's term, since it's a unique roster, it would be kind of unique to have a perspective from one of the new guys, as well as one of the guys who have been around. Justin Dietich, I think he handles the microphone and plays to the camera really well. He would have been a perfect candidate. You don't necessarily have to have an offensive and a defensive guy. Last year, USC brought Keaton Slovis and Drake London. So, again, I don't know. Look, if the team made these selections, no big deal. If Lincoln decided I'm bringing these two guys along, again, what kind of message does that send? But, maybe this is, again, what I'm saying. Is this who a couple of the team captains are going to be? You usually have 3 or 4. Are these 2 of them? Did Lincoln Riley tip his hand? Who knows? I guess we'll find out on Friday. There's going to be lots of questions being asked. Speaking of Friday, it's Pac-12 Media Day. Is it a coincidence that the 2 LA schools are going to be the last to take the stage when everybody gets together this Friday? I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's being done on purpose. Because I think everybody also knows what's going to dominate, what topic is really going to dominate the day. It's going to start at 8 a.m. That's when George Kliavkoff, as well as his underling, not really his underling, Merton Hanks, they're gonna take the stage. And then around 8:45, Utah will be the first school program to take the stage. So Kyle Whittingham and his 2 player reps, and each school program gets 30 minutes to talk about their season, what they look forward to, and just answer pretty much the same question from the media over and over and over again. Following Utah will be Oregon 30 minutes later. So now I don't know whether this was a way to try to keep everyone awake and interested, or if this was just a way to, punish the LA schools. UCLA, they're going to take the stage at 3 o'clock, and then 30 minutes later, USC will bring the curtain down at 3:30. Ironic? No. Look, as I mentioned, George and Merton and the other programs, hopefully, particularly the schools, the head coaches, look, they got to answer the tough question. I'm hoping the players from the other programs aren't inundated with this topic for too long. Let the adults in the room answer the hard question. Now, yeah, Oregon and Washington, maybe even Stanford, and to a lesser degree, Cal, they're going to have to talk about this because, number one, UCLA is trying to be blackmailed into paying for some of the UC's debt. So that's going to come up with George. That's going to come up with the Cal program. That's going to come up with UCLA when they take the stage. So maybe they want to spread it out. Who knows? USC is really the whole catalyst behind this whole thing that's going down. So making them answer the questions at the end of the day, I don't know, maybe they'll have to refresh everybody's memory of why they're doing this. They're going to have a whole lot of time between the Pac-12's perspective on what's going on and when USC actually gets to give their perspective of why they're moving to the big conference. And in between, there's going to be a lot of, I don't know, we'll call it white noise, but a lot of disinterested people listening. So if you want to listen to what USC and UCLA have to say about it, you're going to have to stay the whole day. So there you go. Hey, if it was up to me, I'd show up, around lunchtime, knowing that USC isn't going on the stage until 3:30. But I'm the type of person who loves a good car accident, and I like to gawk. And I'm the type of guy who might, come up with a snarky question. Like I might want to ask George, hey, when did the student athlete go extinct. I might ask Oregon's head coach Dan Lanning, would you have taken this job knowing what you know now? Now, obviously, he's going to give the politically correct answer, but I think maybe if the cameras were off the record, his answer might be different. So these are just some of the things that will be going on at Pac-12 Media Day this Friday. They'll be taking place at LA Live. So, I'll have some more information on our next episode of Locked On USC this week. There'll be 2 more episodes. I wasn't able to join the We Are Inside the Trojan Huddle show this week. I had something come up Monday afternoon when we do our taping. However, when you're done watching and listening here, head on over to wearesc.com. Scott Schrader has got a bunch of recruiting information. Eric McKinney has been doing a great series on questions at the positions. And, I had mentioned Inside the Trojan Huddle podcast that Greg Katz hosts. He also has his IMHO story, as well as, oh gosh, why am I having a brain fart right now? Greg puts out 2 weekly columns, his IMHO, as well as, gosh, forgive me, Greg, I apologize. Where to go? His obvious, not so obvious. Sorry, Greg, I'm just having some brain flatulence right now. It's a Monday evening when I'm recording the show. I've had a busy day, so my apologies. So again, when you're not watching and listening to Locked On USC, you can also check out the Locked On Network for Locked On Pac-12 with your host, Spencer McLaughlin. Locked On Big Ten has your host, Nate Dickinson. They cover all of your Pac-12 and your Big Ten news and notes information in 30 minutes or less. And what I can't provide for you here at Locked On USC in 30 minutes or less, you're going to get over at wearesc.com. So thanks again. Fight on, and I'll talk to you soon. Until then, I don't know, man. If I have something new come up, I might even be back later. Soon.